Good morning, friends. Hi, it's Anna Walker with Anna Walker Designs and StabThingsIntoExistence.com. I am sitting out in this beautiful fall day here in Iowa, and I'm hoping that you guys can see this because our Wi-Fi has been sporadic, but we think we got it fixed yesterday. We're just keeping our fingers crossed. So I'm just going live as if everything is hunky-dory, and I hope that you're able to see this. I apologize for the shades, but it's a little bright out here, and this morning was a wake up with a headache morning. So I'll probably be wearing shades most of the day, whether I'm inside or outside. But today, I brought along with me when I came up here. Oh, and let me say one thing. We're at the corner of two very busy roads, and it could get really loud. So if the trucks come by and I know that it's going to be really loud, I'm just going to shut up until after they're passed. So that's just to let you know, because I can hear a car on the way now. What I brought with me this week, these 2 weeks that I've been here to work on, were some old projects. And I thought that this would be a good opportunity to show you some things that you might want to think about when you revisit old projects that either didn't turn out the way you thought they would, or they just hung around and you didn't think they would. Truck? Not as loud as I was expecting. But I had some necklaces that I made years and years and years ago, and they were fiber necklaces. And I don't know if you can see, but they're a felted cord, a felted collar. And I have 4 of them that I brought with me. I'm going to use that one last. And they were attached to just some different fibers and silk ribbons to use for the string, just to use them to make a little neck piece. They were ahead of their time. Neck pieces like this are coming into season again. And so I thought I would revisit the different things that you could do with maybe some old felted projects that you have around. I mean, you guys saw me give new life to that horrid doll that I started several weeks ago. It's a couple months ago, I think, and how I created the goddess of hugs out of her, and how I put life into an old piece that I thought was worth nothing. So I just wanted to give you some ideas of what you could do. Now, this one I think is going to make a fabulous Christmas neck piece. And I'm still deciding whether I'm going to use a chain or several chains. The style right now is to have chains, strands coming down that are pretty simple, and then all of the decoration, all of the bling here in front. Now this is pretty blingy. The bat that I used to create this had lots of fire star and silk, and I just love the different colors that came together for this. But I think that we can do something with this neck piece. First, to determine which side is the front and which side is the back. You can see we've got a few little fibers here, but I can take tiny little scissors and I can cut off those little edges of those fibers that are sticking out, and to get them to behave just a little bit more. Some fibers, like mohair, you can have trouble with fibers being a little bit long and showing a little bit too much in your final product, but you can go along with you can even use a sweater razor to clip off some of those extra little fibers, or you can use, like I'm using, a teeny tiny little pair of travel embroidery scissors and just clip off those fibers as you see them. This is one nice thing about being outdoors, is the sunlight is helping me see where those long fibers are, and I can just trim those off and make that as smooth as I need it to be. But I like, you guys know I'm a purple freak. This side has just this tiny little strip of purple in it. And I think I'm going to make that the front side of this neck piece, just because it's purple, purple. But there are different things that we can do with this. We can take some embroidery floss, and I picked up some pearl cotton in these gorgeous variegated shades at the local quilt store down the road. And we could take and use some of these threads to create some embroidered designs on here. We've got sequins, and these are sequins that I've used, and I used it actually in my landscape that I finished, that I started in Scotland in February. I just got it finished a couple of weeks ago, and I embellished it with sequins, and instead of beads in the center, I used French knots in the center to hold the sequins on. But we could use teeny tiny little sequins. I'm going to see if I can hold this up so you can see it, because it is a cute little flower-shaped sequin. And see how it sparkles and shimmers? We could add sequins, maybe just in this purple area, just to let it highlight that, and you can see how that sequin could bring some detail to that. We can also use beads, and we can use big beads, we can use small beads. I have a collection of seed beads that, you know, I have from back in my beading days. And you know what? I still consider myself a beader to a certain extent because I use beads in my finished felted projects. So we could use some shimmery, some matte finish, some metallic finish beads to give a little bit of zhuzh to this particular collar, or any collar, any piece that we're redoing. There's some gold in here. We could use gold. And there are larger beads we could use. I mean, I've got some leftover bugle beads. Those are the long, straight, skinny beads. And we could create a fringe here in the center of this neck piece. Here we've got some matte finished pearlescent kind of beads, and then some shorter bugle beads. That would give an interesting texture here. But the idea is that there's nothing one way or another way. I mean, I love Delicas and Miyukis. These have got sort of a two-tone color. It's called blue-gray alabaster, but I think it's the night sky, and looks like the stars shimmering in the sky. But we could take and embellish these collars. We could take and embellish these collar pieces with stitching. We can embellish them with beads. You can add bells to them if you want to. But anything that strikes you as something that you might want to add in there, you could certainly, without any problem at all, get some letter beads, and it could say Merry Christmas if you wanted it to. It could say joy. You know, you could do anything you want with this. But I encourage you to take a look at those projects that maybe didn't turn out the way you wanted them to, or have just hung around for longer than what you had planned, and look at them in a different way. Look at them in the light of something fresh. Particularly, I mean, these were made easily 8 years ago, 8 years ago. So these have been hanging around in my bags and boxes of things that, you know, didn't sell or didn't move or weren't really what I wanted them to be. And so take a look at those and bring them out of those boxes, because we all know we hate throwing those things away. We put time and effort and energy into them, and we knew that we had an idea in the beginning, and maybe that idea didn't turn out at first, but that doesn't mean that that idea can't turn out differently now when we take a look at it in a new light. So that is my live for today. That is truck. That's my update for this morning. I hope you've been able to see this. Let me know in the comments on the video, and show me some pictures of the things that you think might need a redo or might need an updating, and send me the picture and say, hey Anna, what would you do with this? And I'll be happy to answer your questions and to give you maybe a different perspective on that particular item. So please let me know what you're working on. Let me know where you're stumped, and let's see if between the two of us we can put our heads together and bring some new life into some old projects. And if you guys have any ideas for my collars, let me know what you think they should turn out like in the comments, and I'll be happy to look those over, and maybe between the two of us we'll get my project finished too. Thanks for being here. All felting questions, are going to be answered whether you post here in Facebook, if you send me an email. You can always go to stabthingsintoexistence.com, and over the blog posts, you may find that you've had those questions answered. And if you haven't left your email at the website yet, you want to do that, because the cart is going to open for new members in the Felt It experience in just a couple of weeks, and I would hate for you to miss out on your last opportunity to sign up at introductory level prices. Going to be $197 for a full year of content. That's 12 videos at the very least, but a video tutorial, new video tutorial every month. You have access to the library that's already been produced this past year. You have access to me on a regular basis in a couple of different formats, one of which is a phone call on Zoom where you can talk live with me and we can connect and I can answer questions for you. So don't miss your opportunity to join the Felt It experience, because it's definitely something amazing, and I'd hate for you to wait until next year when I'm going to have to raise. Over to stabthingsintoexistence.com, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Good, if all goes well with the Wi-Fi. Not the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi. A friend of mine told me that her daughter called it Wi-Fi yesterday, and I love that, so I think I'm going to call it Wi-Fi. So anyway, as long as the Wi-Fi is working, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.